Good evening, everyone. It is an exciting place to be if you're passionate about fighting injustice and learning from history about how living in one global society works and doesn't work. Today, we are going to discuss a very interesting course that will give you an in depth understanding of nations and large international organizations. Welcome to ULTV Student Diaries. I'm Shifali Shrivastava, Marketing Communication Manager at University. This course combines insights and perspective from different disciplines, including economics, geography, and business. The international relation programs allow students to gain in-depth knowledge of international relations through insights drawn from the various disciplines as mentioned earlier, such as economics, history, political science, and nation studies as well. Bringing further knowledge to this topic, we have Vanshika Makkar, a student at the University of British Columbia, joining with us. Hi, Vanshika, how are you?
Hi, Shifali. I'm really good. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Canada. And
Mhm.
we thank you so much again, actually. So, how has been your journey so far? This is the first time that we are interviewing a Canadian student, a Canadian student.
It's been almost 2 years that I'm living here. Now I can say that my journey has been quite enriching. I have learned so much about myself and, the people around me, the world around me. It's an absolutely invaluable experience, and I won't trade it for anything. However, in the beginning, it was a little difficult for me to settle. Living alone or starting from the scratch somewhere new is really a tough time in the beginning, but when you find a comfort of a home, when you make friends, when you try to settle down, so a completely new environment, but it was not easy, but it was sure worth it.
Right. It's actually a little difficult in initial stage, and I think that's rough edge only provides
Yeah.
you that confident that you need to survive this whole journey throughout. So
Mhm.
I believe that's very important, and of course, from the environment that we guys go grow into and we become adult, the
Mhm.
environment compared to overseas is completely different.
It
So
is.
you have to do everything on your own. You are dependent on your own. There's no one to call out. Okay, help me out with this thing and that.
Mhm.
So true,
Mhm.
true. Now, Canada has been a favorite country, as a favorite student destination for a very long time. A lot of
Mhm.
students, especially we talk about students from India, want to travel to Canada to make
Yeah.
their study abroad dream true. However, there's still some English proficiency test that's part of it. Which test you took and how would you rate it, like with respect to the other test? What are the benefits of these tests?
So I gave IELTS exam. IELTS is one of the most famous one for English proficiency here, and it's usually for a visa application more than universities per se, because like I did CBSE board, so grade 12 CBSE English marks are also considered equally. So, but I did give IELTS exam, and rather than IELTS, there's TOEFL, and there are exams like that are also famous for North America. But for specifically Canada, I think IELTS is the one that people should target and people should just give it beforehand, because it impresses the visa officers and it impresses your portfolio. Because since you get a good English score, so they know that you're eligible for for an English speaking country, and you'll be a good fit here.
Right, right. Of course, IELTS is
Mhm.
something that has been renowned throughout the world, and everybody is
Yeah.
aware about it. With respect to the marks, the weightage this particular exam holds, but of course, there are certain other factors also involved into this. Like there are Duolingo, PT, and other exams. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts on those exams?
I mean, there are good options. Duolingo and PT are also now on the same on the same field as IELTS and TOEFL, etc. But I think that I didn't use all those options, or I didn't explore those options, because I didn't think I need to at that time, because for me my grade 12 English exams and IELTS were sufficient, and then I started planning on my applications and my other supplementary things that I had to apply for it. So, but Duolingo and PT are also other options, and I think PT is more prevalent in Australia than Canada. And like for example, TOEFL is also more prevalent in US than Canada. So like different countries have their different set of criteria they want, and different set of parameters that they want to prove, that candidate has to prove before entering the country. So similarly, IELTS is more popular or more needed in UK also than Canada per se. So like different countries have different criteria that you have to go through, and Duolingo has now been popular. Like recently has gained a lot of popularity among people, so it's becoming a new factor too.
Right, true, true.
Mhm.
And of course, IELTS, if you're giving IELTS, then you're eligible to be part of any university across the globe. If we talk about,
Yeah,
like, I believe 99% or 95 universities takes IELTS in
it's an extra
apart from the other,
supplementary.
yeah,
Yeah,
apart
that's
from the other exams, correct. Now you mentioned that you gave your CBSE boards, and then you started planning and everything. So it's a very long journey before you
true.
take that journey, before you take that leave. There is a journey to plan that leave, also to plan that journey. So how
Mm.
was your study abroad journey? How did you plan? Did you take any funding option? What are the other factors that you considered before flying to Canada, if we talk about over any other country?
So I applied to universities in Canada and UK. Um, I after giving my grade 12 exam, that's when I started planning my. That's when I started planning to go abroad. I did not plan before my grade 12 exams because I still had some plans in mind about giving some exams in India, and I applied for exams like CLAT, and I also gave DU's exam for entrance exam, and I got into a lot of colleges that I wanted to in India. But then somehow I just planned that I should move abroad, and I looked for universities there. So I applied to Canada and I applied to UK. For UK, there's a standard procedure through UCAS that you have to apply, you have to upload your personal statements and your transcripts, etc. So my school helped me a lot with that. And I started planning all this in September, and through like when I started planning it in September, I started working on my personal statement, and I used to go back and forth, from the university's portal to my Word document every day almost, and making edits, and getting it reviewed from people, asking them to read, asking them to give me their feedback. So September, October, November, I took 3 months on my personal statement, on getting my transcripts, on getting my reference letters from my teachers, because I did all by myself. So I didn't go to any uh, counselor or any external institution for help. So I was doing it all by myself. So that was kind of a big risk that I took, which I don't recommend everybody to take, but I did it because I had a lot of time, because after grade 12 there was pandemic going on and everything, so I started doing it all by myself that time. So
Okay.
after September, I started this journey. I gave my IELTS exam in November, and in December, I was finalizing everything. Like I was, making the last final touches and last final checks on everything. And in January first week, I sent out all my applications. So I applied to I think 5 universities or colleges in UK, and three universities in Canada: U of T, UBC, and Waterloo. And by I think April, May, I started getting acceptances from universities I wanted to. And out of them, I got UBC's acceptance, like the last one. And after getting accepted in UBC, when I planned on continuing further with UBC, and I accepted it, and that's when I started looking for some funding options like some scholarships or additional loans and stuff like that. But fortunately, I didn't go at that side much, because from UBC I got a scholarship for my first year, so I got an outstanding international student award. And
Mhm.
UBC does help a lot with giving out merit based scholarships to people who really deserve it. And I think almost everybody who want to apply for all these universities, they should go ahead, because universities help a lot. And to international students with scholarships, merit based scholarships, and some are financial based scholarships that are more prevalent in UK and US. But if you've scored well enough in grade 12, and you are passionate about the subject you're coming to learn here, I think universities do understand, and they do help you if you ask them to.
Right.
So that's been the journey so far.
Right. And congratulations. And that's great that you got and a scholarship from the university itself.
Yeah.
I believe that helps with your future references a lot, because it's not
Mm-hmm.
just on the basis of your co-curricular activities, but it combines with the co-curricular
Yeah,
activity and merit as well, which helps
that's
you
true.
a lot, stating that you have done. And I believe
Mm-hmm.
SOP also plays a very vital role in such scholarships, because as you mentioned that they see through it. It's very important to have that clarity of thoughts, and they see if the student is actually involved in the course the way they are looking for, and they are ready to invest their time
Yeah,
and their money into that student, or the student is just coming here for the sake of it. So I
that's
believe
true.
all
That's true.
these pointers create that difference for anybody who's planning to get a scholarship. So
Mm-hmm.
keep these points in mind and don't miss out these. Okay,
Yeah.
so international relation is a very new, vibing term, I'll say, with respect to the courses. There have been international business terms. There has been different names for this particular course in different country and universities. However, why did you, as you mentioned that you were planning to give some exams in India as well and you got qualified as well, what made you choose to go abroad itself? Why didn't you pursue this course in India? Like, just reference. And if your friends are pursuing something over here, some similar course, do you find that there's a lot of difference in the course with context to India, or is it a similar kind of course? And is there any kind of prerequisite for the course, and what does the course entail at Canada?
Mm-hmm. So, I think IR, International Relations, has been a popular course in India as well, and nowadays it's becoming a very it's becoming something that people really want to do. It was not that popular like 10 years ago or even 6 years ago. That's mainly, I think, because since the world is changing around us so much these days, the countries are realizing that they cannot survive alone. Big institutions are realizing, that they cannot survive alone. Big companies are recruiting people all over the world. Somebody is buying their, KPOs and BPOs from different countries and outsourcing and stuff like that. So it's becoming a very global world. It's connecting through digital things. So I think that since the world is changing around us, a lot of people can see the importance of learning about international relations, international politics, international business. And similar to international relations, there's a course of international business economics, IBE, here in UBC as well. So, so the thing is that since the course is becoming so important and so popular these days, and people are realizing that how valuable it will be to add on to this skill for the future career goals, working in UN, working with non-profit organizations, even working in corporate sectors and then government sector. So it's a very wide course, and it provides you with a lot of diverse options as career goals, and even for studying, as you also mentioned earlier, that it includes economics, geography, political science, history, Asian studies, and languages, etc. So it is one of the diverse options you can find as an art student, as a business student, to look for, and even as a science student if you want to add on to a skill. So I think IR as a major, it can help you, you know see your goals as some diverse goals, and see them as something that you can pursue further. As an undergraduate degree, I think it's a very nice interdisciplinary course. And apart from that, the difference that I felt from India, in India, I was applying for law actually. So I gave CLAT exams. And I either wanted to become a lawyer and still want to become a lawyer sometime in future. We'll see. And if I, for me, it was either lawyer or either going into this political and economical side. So the mix of politics and economics as IR was not present somewhere in colleges, like in DU colleges or in other universities in India, that I wanted to pursue it in. So when I started, seeing these courses in universities abroad, I got to know that the international experience while studying about courses that talks about global economics and global politics is also really important. Like, since I'm right now in UBC, when I'm in my classes of studying about international relations or international economics, when we are discussing about some war, we're discussing about some treaty or some effects of World War II that are still happening, or India and stuff. So I can see that people from that country present in my class. So when we're talking about Russian and Ukraine war, I had people in my class who were from Russia or Ukraine or who had family there, and how they were talking about the experiences and the things they were going through, and the how war was affecting them. So you can see at that point of time that what is going on in the world is just near you. It's just all around you. You cannot escape it. So being in India, it was more like a news for me, that I was seeing it from a third person perspective. And now having people around me who are dealing with all these crises here, for me, or like for them also, when I talk about India Pakistan relations or stuff like that in class, they can also understand where I'm coming from. So I think the international touch while studying about these kind of subjects is very important, and that's how I planned on going outside and studying this subject more.
That's very literal that you mentioned that you're going to study international relations, and why don't study in an environment that gives you that
Yeah.
international globalization effect,
Mhm.
where you can actually grow, where you can actually discuss the actual problems that that same country or that person is facing through, is
Mhm.
going through. Like
Mhm.
you mentioned it pretty well, the Russia and Ukraine thing, that that's a news for you, but if you are in India, that's a news for you, but if you're over there,
Mhm.
you are among those students, you are going through the
Yeah.
pain, seeing them right now, what challenge they are facing as of now. Correct. Makes sense.
Mhm.
Makes sense. Now, what does this course entail over there? What other parts of study? Like you mentioned that you'll study treaty, you'll study geography, you'll study economics. Now, with respect to the future aspect, what does this course entail? Is there any kind of
Mhm.
specialization going forward in the same course, or how about it?
Mm-hmm. So at UBC, it's a Bachelor's of Arts in International Relations, and at UBC you declare your major after after like first year or second year. So there are some prerequisites for this course, like there's a language requirement that you have to do. Then there are some courses that you have to do in economics, some in political science, some in history, and some extra electives that you have to get an overall good GPA or overall good percentage. And after your second year, like I'm in second year right now, so the applications have now opened for me. So I will apply with all my transcript, and I will apply with all my grades, and I will write a personal statement that why I want to do international relations and what niche I'm targeting in doing it, like what particular thing that I want to study in it. For example, I plan on studying about wars and terrorism, so I will write a little about why I want to study it and how will it help me in my career goals and stuff like that. So then there's like a monitoring, and there are limited seats for these kind of programs. So you get selected after your second year, and there are prerequisites that you have to fulfill in first and second year, that are in pol science, economics, history, and electives like Asian studies, etc. So at UBC, this is how the procedure works, and you have to do also one language along with that. So I'm doing French a little along with it. So it's a little bit comprehensive and a little bit, that student have to go through, like something that you have to plan well and something you have to be strategic about. But I think everybody gets in, like if you're passionate enough about, they do care about you. So since they're asking for personal statements, so they will see that why do you want to apply and if you will be a good fit. And I think everybody gets in who really wants it.
Right. And sometimes it's important to have a third eye perspective. With respect to, of course,
Mm-hmm.
we know that we are doing pretty good and we are really good in this. And our parents, of course, because parents or any beloved friend or family
Mm-hmm.
member also thinks, okay, because they're supporting your idea. But however,
Yeah.
you might thrive into some other channel in a better manner, and that can be only best judged by a teacher or by a faculty. So yeah, thank you so much, Vanshika, for telling us about the international relation course, telling us about the Canada and
Mm-hmm.
how what options you take. Now coming on the university part, why did you choose UBC? If I talk about,
Mm-hmm.
why didn't you choose any other university in Canada, or for example in UK, if we talk about, because you gave exams in UK also, what made this particular university different for you?
So for UBC, personally, I find that the collaborative and calm environment of UBC, as one of the most compelling factor about our campus. It's one of the beautiful campuses. I could say that it's like so pretty. We have a personal beach, we have a rose garden, everything. It's very pretty. But apart from that, I think the people here, they're really nice. When you talk to them, they're collaborative. They're really calm, and they're not competitive, or there's no unhealthy competition going on around campus. So everybody is happy, they're cheering for you, they're supporting you, and you can see that like the vibe of campus is always very very vibrant around you. And the professors is like one of the biggest factors that draws me for this university so much, because even before coming to UBC, when I was talking to all the people I knew before who were going to UBC, or I was reading about the universities, UBC shines out because of the faculty they have. I think so. Because all the professors that I have had, they're exceptionally skilled in their field, and they're so passionate about what they're teaching. So, the classes are always so fun, they're so engaging, and it looks like they do care about you. They'll go out of their way to make you feel comfortable with your peers. They'll make everything in the class so vibrant that a 2 hour lecture doesn't seem like a boring lecture for you. So it's been a really great journey, mostly because of the professors maybe I've had, and all the clubs that I've joined, and all the societies that I've been part of. All the students are really they care about you, they're very sensitive, and they do care about other people on campus. So I think that also changes a lot. So the vibrant vibe that you have, people are always they're studying, or there's a party going on, or there's something happening all the time on campus. So it's a really nice place to be.
It's a really nice place to be. The center is
Mm-hmm.
actually comprising all your feelings towards the university and Canada. If I talk about the sentence itself is a full sentence, so I'm not going to dwell more on this particular topic. But yes, as you mentioned about clubs and extracurricular activities that keeps on happening, that keeps engaging, that keeps that ambience and vibrant
Yeah.
environment of the university. If you can share more information on those clubs and extracurricular activities, that would be great.
Mhm. So here there are so many clubs and societies. They're like almost for everything you have a club. You have a club for gardening, you have a club for dance, and even in dance you have Indian dance, jazz dance, Bollywood dance, salsa A, B, C for level for beginners level to professional level. So there's like a club for everything that you want to be part of. You want to do beekeeping, you want to do cycling, anything. So I think in terms of clubs and societies, it's a very broad range, and you can be part of anything that you want. It's all about you, like how much are you willing to commit, or how much are you willing to go out of your time, go out of the box. Because every day when you have a schedule that is full of classes, and if you're also working part time, so how much time can you take out of your schedule to be part of a club, to and also if you want to volunteer there, or do you want to become a member, or do you want to take an executive position and do something for the club. So there are three things that happen. So I am a part of UBC Red Cross Society as an executive, and right now I'm also the treasurer for the Gender Race Society for UBC. So the thing is that it is a lot of work. I won't say it is not. It's not work. It is a lot of work, because you are just you're making the club go with you. It's everybody's looking up to you for the club to run. So I think if you're joining it, it adds on to your professional life a lot, because for me it has helped me by providing a professional environment around me, going to meetings, networking, talking to people almost every day, new members joining, interviewing people for memberships, etc. So it is fun. But if you're ready to take on some challenges, and if you want to be an executive, it's fun like that also. It adds on to your professional growth. Personally, it helps you develop a lot. So I think that's helpful. And along with that, I would recommend that if you are part of a faculty, you should join your faculty clubs as well. For example, I'm part of the Arts Undergraduate Society as well. So the undergraduate societies also help you with a lot of things. You meet seniors there, you chat with them about your major. They help you with a lot of things. You ask them about any problems you're going through, because they do understand. They're in second year, third years, and fourth years, so they understand your problems that you're going through academically. Sometimes you meet people like I've met a lot of people from India, from Delhi, in those clubs, so they can understand you more, and you feel like you can make friends, you can feel like home. So that's something that I think that going out, getting yourself out there, meeting new people, clubs is a very good way for doing that.
Yeah, and you mentioned it pretty well. If it's actually very accurate that if you are joining such clubs, the whole idea of doing this club is to enhance your personality, And
Yeah.
while doing that activity, if you are able to gain some professional experience, some corporate, not corporate exactly, but some professional experience,
Mhm.
then that's going to add to your resume, that's going to add to your work experience, that will help you in getting a kickstart in your career life.
That's
So
true.
I believe, and of course, if by any chance, if there's any club that is missing, the best
Mm.
part is to be the pioneer of that club. Start your own club, and then you
Yeah,
can just be the executive and the president of that club, and you can hire more people under it, or many other people can join you over there.
that's true. That's
So
true.
yeah, great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Vanshika. Again, we have talked about university, we have talked about course, we have talked about living
Mm-hmm.
over there. We'll be talking for a couple of more questions because we're almost near our time. But there is
Okay.
this one important reality check that every student gets once they land over there. Once they land in their study abroad country destination from their
Mm-hmm.
domestic country, because before you fly, you have 10 fears in your mind, you have 10 excitements in your mind, you have butterflies in the stomach. However, when you land, everything is different. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that reality is meeting your expectations, sometimes that reality is not at all meeting your expectations. So what was your
Yeah.
experience on this throughout?
So, I'll be really honest. I had quite high expectations for myself that, I'll be thriving in academics, I'll be all social, I'll be making so many friends, it's so easy for me to make friends, settling in a new place, etc. But it was a really not very difficult, but it was a transition time, I would say, that everybody goes through, or maybe I went through, that you understand a lot about yourself, you understand a lot about the things that you've been doing is not the same, because the environment that you are in is not the same anymore, it's not the same place, it's not the same people. So my expectations started to get lower, from every day was just decreasing and decreasing. So I think the best advice would be that come without any expectations, because if you come without any expectations and then you see yourself thriving, then you see yourself making friends and going out and being social, then you get more excited about being here, and that's a positive start. So like what I did was I came with like a lot of expectations about being the best person I could ever be here, but nothing like that happened. Like it happened, but like for me it was still like, oh, I'm missing out on this. When I'm studying, I'm always in the library and not meeting new people, I have to make friends and everything, so it became a pressure. So rather than taking it on as a pressure, I would say that you know relax a little, and it's perfectly all right to acknowledge that you need help sometimes. It's perfectly fine to acknowledge that you are homesick, and it's fine that to miss your family, to miss your friends, and the feeling that I should go back or should I stay here, and nothing's going fine. But I think gradually it takes time. I think like good friendships also take time. So things that are taking time, it's over a period of time you talk to people, and then you see that you're able to gel up with them. And because you're an international student, you have to little accommodate and compromise and learn new things and unlearn a few things that you already know from your prior experiences back at home, because this is not your home, this is not India, this is a very different country with different people who have different cultures, and since you are also a different person here for them, so you have to understand, you become aware about yourself. And I think the first thing that will be to feel okay about feeling low, feel okay about you know being a little homesick, because it takes time to get accustomed to this new place, and it won't be easy, but it will over time come easily for you, because you're there for an year now. So I think everything's gonna be fine.
Mhm. Right, right. You have actually addressed two questions combined, but you have explained it pretty well, and I
Mhm.
believe everybody can relate to it. It's okay. It's okay if you need help.
Yeah.
It's okay if you're feeling out of the place. It might happen. You're going to a very different place. That place is
Mhm.
actually out of place for you. You have lived somewhere throughout
It's
your
a
life.
very big change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and and the thing that you mentioned, that you work really hard on yourself, you get really hard on yourself, that you came all the way across, to achieve this particular role, and you're unable to do so. And that pressure that I have to be part into this also, I have to be a good friend also, I have to do well in academics also, I have to be part of this club also. That's a huge pressure, that's a huge pressure on any student. And that's why we always talk about, and every university always talk about, uh, to talk to it. See, mental well-being is also very important, and if you become hard on yourself, that will affect your happiness. And if your
That's true.
happiness is imbalanced, your other things will also feel, fall apart. So it's very important to feel relaxed in some composing manner.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and it's okay, these feelings will happen. You are moving across globe, you are moving thousand and thousand, kilometers and miles away from your family, from your comfort zone. And I believe the best results come for anyone when they disturb their comfort zone. So
That's true.
there's always this saying also, I don't know it's true on everyone or not, but during chaos the growth thrives more. So if there's a little turbulence, it's fine, you're growing, you're not stagnant. So it's in a
Yeah,
positive manner, keeping that in mind. Just take a breathe in, take a breathe out, and relax. So,
true. Very
Vanshika, you
true.
have already addressed your things. Now,
Mm.
I will come to my like second last question, and it has been wonderful talking to you so far. Amazing
Same here.
insights,
Same
really,
here.
really interesting conversations. But
Mm-hmm.
we have to end the show today. But of course, if you guys want to discuss more about any information related to Canada, where Vanshika can be helpful, you can reach us out on our community. Vanshika is part of that community. She'll be happy to address that question over there, or we can organize another ULTV for you guys. So no harm in doing so. I hope Vanshika will not mind coming again as a speaker.
No worries. Yeah, for sure.
Great. So, Vanshika, there is huge accommodation crisis happening across globe. Everybody is aware about that because of
Mm-hmm.
Russia Ukraine war. Also, especially we talk about UK specifically, but in Canada also there is a huge accommodation crisis, and a lot of student thinks that once they land in the country, or in the end, like if you're flying in September, they look for an accommodation maybe in July or August, or August, not July also. Or maybe if they're flying on 6th, they'll look in accommodation on 1st onwards, which should not be the case, as suggested by you guys only, as suggested by the students who are living over there, who has gone through this process. Why do you guys suggest to book early? And why do you search? What is the difference between a student accommodation and apartment? What would you recommend for any student to book actually initially? Like, many of the students think that apartments are cheap. Is that truly a case compared to the student accommodation?
Um, for Canada, especially like for Vancouver, I don't think it's cheaper because right now in Canada or especially in Vancouver, the property rates have been like skyrocketing. So the rent is too much to pay sometimes, and especially like around colleges or around campuses, people are smart that they know that a lot of students will be looking for places around because nobody likes to travel an hour or 2 hour to just to come to attend 1 or 2 classes every day. So people already hike their prices sometimes, and the thing is that students, for example, like first years or second years, maybe third years, who are just new, even like graduate students who are just coming here for the first time, they don't know a lot about market right now. So I think that a lot of people are not aware about what prices are, the standard prices, or what prices should be the standard price, or are they paying more, or are they paying extra for something, are they paying some extra fees that they should not have been paying, whereas the landlord is playing some smart tricks on them. So I've seen a lot of people who are paying for things that is not even part of the contract, because there is no particular contract per se. They're just paying a monthly rent. So I think looking for apartments outside campus or outside student accommodations becomes a little bit of a task if you're not aware about things. And mostly people, I don't think, are so aware that they should know that what kind of fees or what kind of contract, what kind of insurance money they have to be charged with. So, apart from that, I've lived always in a student accommodation till now. So, I've been paying the sum of money that is way less than what my friends are paying who are living outside, out of campus, like in apartments, like proper apartments and houses. And then students who live in basements or in separate houses, they pay less because then you're also living in a basement. So, that also changes, like being in an apartment and being in a basement, that changes the rent. So I think the housing crisis right now in Vancouver is ongoing, and it's a big problem because the influx of students that come every term is too much, and even the student accommodations are not enough to fulfill them. So I think looking for student accommodations early or looking for a secure place early really helps because you can book a safe spot and you have a lot of time to think, rethink, and overthink about prices, about places, about the area that you want to live. So I think that help is always needed. If you're provided with student accommodation through universities, well and good. But if you're not, then I think you should take help as much as you get, because I think securing a place to live is something that becomes a really big problem afterwards. You can't shift with all your big suitcases again and again every month, and paying so much rent, like around 1100, 1200, even $1,500 or $2,000 per month is too much. So this is the help which students should take, because it becomes a toll on you at the end of the day. So
True. You already have 99 things on your plate. You already need to figure out how to go
exactly.
XLR courses, how to go and
Mm-hmm.
gel in with
Mm-hmm.
the orientation part and all that. And if you want to add one more addition to it, that kudos to you if you really want to take that risk. But it's completely on you, I'll say. And of course, there's one more part that I would like to highlight. When you're taking an apartment, all the maintenance part is your own headache. If there is
Yeah.
any plumbing issue, if there is any heater issue, you have to go and call that person and they have to come and you have to follow up with them. However, in
Mhm.
if I talk about student accommodation, there is help available 24/7. You just have to ring a bell and the person will come. The person is also verified.
Mhm.
Security is something which is very important. If I talk about all the people who are employed, they are verified, secured. However, in apartment, you are solely responsible, and we really hope that everybody stays safe and everything, but there's
Mhm.
still a risk prevailing with respect to you
Yeah.
living alone. And yeah, rents definitely come cheaper if you're living in a basement, but over their point of time, I think you're compromising on the quality of life that you want to have.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I
Ah,
think security is something that is a big factor, because at the end of the day, you don't want to think about that if your door is locked, if your
yeah.
main door is locked, things like that. Because since I have been in a student accommodation, this kind of things have never occurred to me from the time I've been living here. But this can be an issue for people who are traveling, who come home late, and all these things that they have to check for an off-campus housing. If you are comfortable living in an off-campus housing, then well and good. But if you have to come every day, like traveling 2 hours and going back late at night after your classes and everything, so it's a tiring thing. So if you want to save time and save money, so it's on you, like two things that you can do.
Right, right, of course.
Mm.
And of course, there's one more thing that traveling also takes a lot of toll, as you mentioned. Traveling takes a lot of toll. Anybody, if you get a cheap accommodation which is like 40 minutes away, that means you will be investing on the transport as well. You'll be investing your time over there as well. Along with that, of course, being an international student, some given point of time you would like to do part-time jobs, which will
Yeah.
not be possible. And there's one more factor which every international student, anyone who's traveling like for the first time abroad, they should also consider student accommodation, I think, because in student accommodation you get to meet only students. It's very clear you'll meet another student, maybe that student could be from your university or that student could be from another university. However, in apartment you are not aware that who would be your neighbor, who can be your neighbor. Not necessary that you gel in with the same group. You find the same group over there. So
Yeah.
at least for initial, as Vanshika mentioned earlier, that she has to make friends and everything. And friends are important because friends and the place where you live is actually motivates you to come back home and to sleep and you feel secure.
Mhm.
So I believe to make friends, it's good to be in a place where you get to meet similar age people a lot. Not similar just age, like someone which has similar interests. So maybe
Mm.
that's just my suggestion. I might be wrong, but
No, that's true. That's really true.
okay, thank you
Mhm.
so much, Vanshika. While we were on the subject of quality of life, Vancouver is actually an expensive city we talk about.
Yeah.
So, what is the cost of living with respect to an international student, and how do you manage if we talk about like weekly basis,
Mhm.
groceries and everything? What is the cost of living over there?
So I think it depends from person to person. The cost of living also changes from your habits and your lifestyle a lot. So if you're on a really minimalistic lifestyle, or you don't waste things much, and you bring things with a plan, you budget everything, I think you'll be able to spend around 1,100 to $1,200 a month minimum. If you because seeing like from accommodation, like I pay around $900 for my accommodation a month, and then above that I pay for my health insurance. That's kind of a mandatory thing for international students, like a health insurance, so that's $75 for that. Then my phone bill, that's $40 again. So apart from that, then there is grocery, that's around $100. So when you add everything up, and then there is some miscellaneous things that you spend on every month, things that sometimes you're going out, or sometimes you do an Uber, and Uber here is also extremely expensive, or things like that. So around 1,100 to $1,200 is an easy spend that you can see spending yourself for a minimum and a basic lifestyle. So I think it is expensive here, and it is expensive to fund yourself alone. But if you do a part-time job, and if you are able to manage a job with all the courses that you have, and if you are doing good in everything, I think if you're able to balance it, you're able to you know get at least around 60 to 70% of it on your own. And even if not, but I mean, 11 to $1,200 is something that you can see yourself spending here every month.
Yeah, so 11 to 1200 Canadian dollars is something which is an expense for anyone who's living a minimal lifestyle, if we say,
Yeah,
not for
yeah.
someone who's partying a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. So you have
it's
to keep extra
expensive.
budget if you want to party. It's easier. Like you can
Yeah,
pour
yeah, the
out of
club
50.
tickets are really expensive. They're like $13, sometimes $20, $30. So it's
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah. You can like 1500 is something like occasional party, I believe, for 1300 or 1500 is something that can work for the anyone who wants to party. Great. Thank you so much, Vanshika. It was pleasure having you over here. Before we bid adieu for this particular, session, any 2 cents of advice for students whosoever is planning their study abroad journey, regardless of the country?
I would just say that I think go for it. It's a big leap that you want to take. Just go for it, because if there's a thought in your mind that you want to pursue it, or if there's something inside you that says like I want to see, and I want to experience the whole international aspect or living abroad thing, and if you think you can take on that challenge, because it comes with a lot of pros and cons. So if you think you can take on that challenge, if you're ready to it, if you're ready to go for it, so I think I would say that just take that chance and apply for universities, and then see the next step. And if you really want to go into the university, then find for a lot of options, because I think that where there is a will, there's a way. So something or the other helps you if you really want to, if it's written that you have to do it, or if you really want to do it. So I think everything comes into place.
Right, right. So just
Mhm.
believe in yourself. If you have
Yeah.
this dream, believe in that dream, take a leap. As Anshika said, and as everybody says, especially in India, if there's a
Mhm.
will, there is the chance. On this
Mhm.
note, we'll be closing our session. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you
Thank
found
you
it
so
useful.
much.
Looking forward to seeing you guys next Friday at 5 p.m. Stay tuned to our social media handles for more information. Thank you so much, Vanshika, for joining us. And it has been a great session. We really thoroughly enjoyed the session.
Thank you so much.